Once Human just dropped the biggest news about how seasons and how scenarios and wipes will work. We will have full unlimited PvP servers and year-long servers are coming, so pay attention. Now we have an official post on how server seasons will work. So today we're talking about Once Human seasons, because if you guys are like me, you're wondering what's happening next on your season and server, because ours is about to finish. Without further ado, let's talk about the Discord post the devs just made on the official Discord, going over how seasons are going to actually work. We have confirmed proof now. Okay, so Once Human has just dropped a bombshell about seasons and scenarios. They've just made a Discord post just an hour and a half ago, and it says it's got everything we need to know about seasons and scenarios that we've been wondering about. Because our server and our season on my server is just about to run out, so we are wondering where we're going next. So let's find out exactly what's happening. So they say, what are the seasons and scenarios in Once Human, and what will the long-term game plan look like? They say we hope to bring various survival gaming experiences so the game has a little something for everyone. Also, we'll keep making updates to the game so it's always exciting to play. And I love this because the game's had such good momentum because of it, because of the phases. Each week there's something new to sink your teeth into. Some weeks obviously better than others. They say that is why we've chosen to give this game multiple scenarios. So if you guys have been playing PvP, you've got the scenario at the moment where we get to fight over the territories. And then on PvE, you've got the Manubis scenario, which is fighting the big bosses. So that's the different scenarios at the moment, to give you guys an idea. A scenario is the gameplay theme of a server. Once Human's global launch in July offered 2 scenarios. Like I say, the PvE scenario Manubis and the PvP scenario Evolution's Call. In September and October, we're bringing in special events featuring new scenarios. So the September scenario allows you to face confrontations among factions. So if you guys haven't seen, there's going to be a faction-based scenario for one of the next ones. It's actually on their website. I'll show you guys in a minute, and we'll go into that in more detail in the next part of this video. And they say the October one will introduce you to an all-new map and challenge you to survive extreme environments. So in October, we're getting a whole new map. That is insane. So it's going to be, I think, the snow and the volcanic areas. And that's what they mean by extreme environments. So we'll have snow and volcano. If you've been in game, there's actually a backpack that's already in the game that's sort of hinted at being cold. So we are also working on scenarios featuring limitless PvP gameplay and longer duration. So this is huge. This is what we've all been waiting for on PvP. Limitless PvP. This means that it's going to be PvP non-stop. So this will probably take the form of open world PvP all around the map, and I still think there'll be sort of limits to base rating, because if you're opening up the gates for base rating at all times in Once Human at the moment, it's going to be wild, but they might balance it so that this works. So this is crazy. I am so keen for this. It's going to be so great for all of us hardcore survival players checking out this limitless PvP gameplay and longer duration as well, because everyone wants that longer duration. That's been the biggest thing. We've all felt a bit rushed at the moment with this 6-week pace. They say additionally, a regular scenario that can be played all year round will be available in the future. So for you guys who don't want the wipes or new scenarios, you can take your time and you can play one scenario that's going to be available all year that's coming in the future. Our plan is to release 4 new scenarios each year, so every 3 months. That's a great pace, and that's what we've all been saying. 3 months is the perfect time for a season. So this is such good news. I'm so pumped. Each scenario is set within the time frame of a season, with the duration of a season varying according to the specific scenario. So the season will be split into several phases. So you can imagine if they're 3-month seasons, if they're 3-month scenarios, the seasons might be every 2 to 3 weeks or monthly. And so it gives you a bit more time to sink your teeth into it, and there'll be more content in it. The in-game content will be unlocked gradually as your server progresses, like we've seen currently, ensuring that you always have something new to enjoy. Once you unlock all the scenario content and the season has come to a settlement phase, you can sign up for a new scenario. Take all your gains and start a new adventure. So at the moment, when you finish the current scenario that we're on, you take your stuff to Eternal Land and you can transition a fair amount of your resources and gains to your next scenario, which will come with a whole host of balancing issues, but let's hope they can iron those out. Alternatively, they say you can stay on the same server until the settlement phase is over. This phase lasts for 4 weeks in our current scenarios. So this is interesting. So there's going to be a settlement phase, and I don't quite understand what this means, but it sounds like the last phase, the settlement phase, is going to be 4 weeks, where it's sort of they just let the servers keep rolling for a little bit longer for everyone to finish off, I guess. So with seasons and scenarios, we are dedicated to delivering an engaging, captivating experience. This is a long-term game mode we've envisioned for you. I am so pumped. Look at this. Brand new PvP scenario with no restrictions. It's going to be insane. Coming from an ARC background and things like that, I kind of think they'll have to have some restrictions with the raiding. If it's 24/7 raiding, it's going to be pretty wild, but I'm, again, kind of here for it. If it's like Rust in a way, could make the game interesting. I'm here for it. Whatever way they try to shake up the PvP, it's going to be great. So yeah, at the moment we've got the Evolutions Call. The next scenarios are going to be the PvP scenario, Prismaverse Clash, and the new PvE scenario, which looks like another, a boss event or different bosses and things to do on the PvE side of things. And the PvP scenario is the faction versus faction. So they go on to say, what are the differences between scenarios? Different season rules and objectives. So each scenario will have different season rules and objectives. So you'll encounter unique seasonal rules. For example, some scenarios may ask you to explore uncharted territories and secure rare deviations, while others will require you to form alliances with other metahumans and survive in harsh environments and combat ferocious monsters. So that's like the PvE side of it. With the alliance thing, so you can help and work together. In those scenarios, you'll have the option to either go solo or team up with other players, or even align with the faction for valuable supplies. So it's going to be very interesting, and it's just going to be like an expansion. Each scenario is basically a new expansion for the game with a different transition than what we're used to in other MMOs. So to different in-game experiences, they say there's going to be new survival mechanics. Certain scenarios will introduce features that intensify the survival challenge. So we've talked about weather and more demanding environments, maps and areas. Some scenarios have a new map, not all scenarios. So we will be playing the same map again, I think with a different change to it, a different flavor to it. So do be aware that says some scenarios have a new map. So some will be on the same map, but with different gameplay mechanics. Enemy types and dungeons. Different scenarios may have special monsters. Configuring the right mimetic gear to deal with these threats, so you can figure out, you might do the same boss you've done before, but he's going to be like a fire version or a lightning version, and he doesn't work with, status effects at one point. You have to do weak spot builds, to mix it up. Scales. The maximum number of players for each scenario will also vary, so they're going to mess around with the limits of players in each scenario. So you can imagine that sometimes it might be geared towards solos or sometimes bigger clans. So that's really cool. They say, how do we sign up for new scenarios? They say in the final phase of the current scenario, you can sign up for a new scenario and start the journey right away. But if you prefer, you can choose to sign up for the new scenario and remain on the same server, continuing your exploration for up to 4 more weeks. So yeah, they're going to leave the server up for 4 more weeks after the scenarios technically finish. During this time, you can sign up at any time and start the new scenario, but you'll want to do that sooner rather than later to keep up with everyone. If you haven't decided on which scenario to join your servers, when your server's last phase is over, your current server will be closed and your character will return to Returnal Land, where you can continue playing and sign up for a new scenario at any time. So I think they'll push off and transfer your resources and stuff to Eternal Land for you. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I presume that's how it'll work. So new survival mechanics, maps, enemy dungeons, scenario. It's just going to be amazing. It's going to always be feeling fresh in Once Human. I am so pumped for this. When a scenario is over, does that mean I'll lose my in-game progress? They say no, the value and effort. We value the effort you put into this game. So when a scenario is over, or when you exit a scenario halfway, you can take your rewards you've earned, except for some extremely rare cases and items related to scenarios and mimetics. However, to ensure each scenario is a complete gaming experience and allows all players to enjoy the game regardless of progress, we've put the following rules in place. Your character won't be deleted. Your character's name, body size, furniture formulas, friends, important materials including Starchroms, Christogens, Mitsuko's mark, silver and keys, battle pass progress and tasks progress will be retained forever. They will not change. They will not be lost when you change from one scenario to another. However, character leveling and mimetics are considered part of the scenario experience will be left. So that's fine by me, because that's going to give us, we're going to have new builds and new memetics to use anyway, depending on the theme. So that's going to be great, and it's going to, like, I enjoy the leveling process, let's be honest, it's fun. The weapon and armor blueprints, blueprint fragments, weapon accessories, mods, food recipes, and other important in-game progress will be retained forever. So that's interesting. You will keep like your food recipes, so that's kind of related to memetics in a way, but anyway. You keep a lot of your progress, and the house blueprints, furniture formulas, and furniture of your character will be retained forever. However, when you start a new scenario, you will need to spend new materials on your house blueprint. So you can take so much over with you. It's really not a big deal because it's so easy to actually build up in once human, once you get going and realize the mechanics. So I don't think this is going to phase too many players. The house blueprint system, all the systems make this work perfectly in my opinion. Regular resources, materials, medicine, ammo, and more you've obtained, and weapons you've crafted, deviations you've captured, and calibration blueprints will also be transferred to your Eternal Land and forever retained. Upon entering a new scenario, you can bring multiple items with you as long as they adhere to the scenario's rule. Is where it gets interesting. So you can take all your weapons and stuff with you to Eternal Land, but if the new scenario doesn't let you bring in, for instance, tier 5 weapons, you're not going to be able to bring in your tier 5 weapon from Eternal Land. That's how it's going to work, because if you guys have seen the current scenarios, they unlocked in certain tiers. So the first tier was only like tier 1 to 2, and so we're not going to be able to bring in endgame weapons, fully finished weapons, to the start of a new scenario. So you'll have to wait till the phase when that tier of weapon opens up. So that's interesting. That's how that's going to work, because I was really worried about power creep. So I would say they're also going to probably limit the amount or the type of blueprints you can make, possibly, but I couldn't be certain on that. You can probably still make your legendary armors and weapons. Obviously, you'll still have the blueprint. You have to make them at a lower tier depending on the phase of the new scenario. However, please be aware that there is a limit to how many items you can bring along, so you're also limited. So they're going to give you like a little, it's just a little starter pack. So picture at the start of this season, you started with a gun you could get from your friend, and it broke after a certain amount of use. It's going to be like that. You're not going to be relying on your old season gear. The point of these scenarios will be to get new gear. And so that'll just be a little help and little assist to get started. So it's to ensure, and this is what I was worried about, because the power creep would be insane if people could just bring their old gear. So this is to ensure that both new players and veterans start from scratch, promoting fair competition. So it's not technically from scratch still, but it's close enough to it that it should be okay, I think. It's very interesting. I think, like, they may lock out some of the blueprints from the season too, which will be interesting. So like all the blueprints we've worked for might not work on the new season. It's really hard to say. Still a bit here that's not quite clear. Of course, regarding the design of these rules, we'll make sure everyone can bring their favorite content to the next season. Okay, so they're going to try and make people happy, I think. I don't see them blocking out certain blueprints. I think it'll be balancing it according to the phase. So you just have to make the tier and the level you're up to. As for energy links, due to the strong connection and in-game trades, they will be transferred to Eternal Land, and they'll convert it to Astral Sand, so you won't take your energy links. Items highly associated with scenarios and memetic specialization cannot be transferred across scenarios. So memetics will be reset, so you won't be able to take your like benches with the perks on them and stuff, I guess. Here we go. They've got lists of everything that you can take as well. So if you guys want to check out the list, you can take your characters and cosmetics. You can take materials, some materials. Star Chrome, Christogens, like we've mentioned, important in-game progress and content. So blueprint fragments. It's interesting though, because use it at any time means in Eternal Land, but doesn't mean it's going to work for the new scenario. That'll be the question. So you can take all of these, and you can transfer the following content to your depot in Eternal Land before the next season begins. You can bring some resources with you on the new journey. So it might be a limited choice of what weapons and armor you take across. And it's deviations too, by the way. You cannot take the following content from the associated scenario to a new scenario. So you can't take your map exploration, your character level XP, and scenario core gameplay. So I think we're going to be able to take some of these. So deviations, weapons and armor, and regular resources, such as materials, medicine, and bullets. It's just going to be a limited amount, so take this with a grain of salt, is how I'm taking it. So how do I take items from Eternal Land into the new scenario? This is what I'm talking about. You'll have a certain amount of resource points before entering a new scenario. So yeah, you'll be limited. They're going to limit what we can bring. And so again, very interesting. I think there's still some interpretation there, but you guys understand the main parts of it is the new scenario is going to be pretty damn amazing. It's going to be a fresh spin, like playing a whole new expansion, and you're going to transfer a lot of your progress from the previous scenarios. So I am so keen for this. I am so excited, especially for the PvP scenario with no restrictions. I cannot wait. What do you guys think? What are you guys excited for? Especially, we can even bring deviations. We all thought we weren't going to be able to bring deviations. It's going to be a little bit limited. I reckon. Don't think you're going to bring everything over to the new scenario. You know what I mean? There's going to still need to be a reason to play the new scenario. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'm super excited. This has given a lot of clarity to what to expect, and I can't wait for Once Human's future. If you guys are the same as me, smash a like on it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Got lots of videos coming covering PvP, and I just did a buff video, so don't miss that. I'll see you guys next time.